Get $50 instantly when you play $5 when you use the promo code. Presented by PrizePicks. Welcome to Light Years, a predictable letdown game. Light Years. We're recording this after the Warriors' loss against the Cleveland Cavaliers here. 7-2. Hard to take a full sky is falling stance on this team. This felt like the most predictable trap game of all time. That said, still fucking sucked to watch.
Oh, it was awful from the second the ball tipped. It was terrible.
Yeah.
A similar start to last game, but you could tell they just didn't have the juice tonight to have that same kind of like defensive performance. And with the way this team plays defense, with all the trapping and kind of all the rotating, you need a lot of energy. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it was the most predictable spot. That Boston game was a lot of energy, emotionally, mentally, physically. Like you could tell everybody in that locker room really wanted to beat Boston on Wednesday. So, I mean, I was talking with some people before the game. It was a very, very predictable letdown spot. So not happy about the result, but not shocked by it either.
No, it's a long season. Like my big thing is if it becomes a habit, then we're talking about something. But in general, 9 games. This was the first, like, where's your energy tonight, guys, game of the season for these guys. The loss to the Clippers was more focus related, but I thought they played hard. They just didn't execute properly. And then otherwise they've won every other game. So it's hard to take more than that. But yeah, first time coming out flat. Worst defense they've played all season. It looked like, I don't know, the defense we've seen in the last 2 years, right? Like kind of lackadaisical, unfocused, all over the place. And everything with the Warriors, in my opinion, is kind of downstream of defense. Like it is a defense first club. If they're not going to defend, they don't end up in these type of games all the time where they're down 40, but it is kind of like one of those, like if you're not going to establish your identity on defense, it's over before it starts.
Yeah. And I mean, if we do want to make a comparison to last season, I feel like last year's team kind of rolls over and lays down. They didn't do that at least. They tried to keep it competitive. They never were able to really break it beneath 20, but there were like, I mean, think about the Celtics game last year, like that got ugly in Boston, that got ugly and it got uglier and uglier and uglier. At least that didn't happen. So, but yeah, it was an ugly performance. You could tell the energy wasn't there from the first second of the game. And also, I mean, Cleveland did not miss. Like, let's not leave that out. I think they started 14 of 18 from 3. I'm pretty sure that's what it was at one point. So like you're never going to win a game like that. You're just not. They were shooting like 75% in the first half from the field and then 70% from 3. So, I mean, good luck. It's not going to happen like that. Sometimes you catch a team at home. They got a lot of energy. And obviously the Cavs are playing amazing basketball right now. So it's not like you're getting blown out by some team on the road that's 5-5. They're 10-0. That's a very, very good basketball team. And I'm sure we'll talk more about it. But yeah, it wasn't surprising once again, but still disappointing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's like you're looking at the box score here. Kuminga led the team in minutes with 29. He led the team in points, minutes, but 29 minutes. But none of the main guys played over 24 minutes. Pull everyone off the court mid-third quarter. Honestly, make Sunday a little more exciting. I was texting you pregame, but it's like I was more hyped for the Thunder and Celtics game than the Cavs one, even though the Cavs are technically playing the best ball of anyone in the NBA right now. They kind of bore me as a team. Whatever. It's just it's a personal aesthetic choice. I'm much more excited now to see what happens with the Thunder game. They got slapped in the mouth. The Thunder are the presumptive favorites in the West. It'll be fun. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of how it goes in some ways, and also like kind of the modern NBA, like when you don't show up, you might get 30-pieced or 40-pieced because of the way teams shoot. In the old days, like you don't show up, it's like you're down like 12-15 the whole game type of thing.
Right. Yeah. And no, if you don't have the energy defensively, teams are just going to rain threes on your head. Everybody's too much of a good shooter right now. Like if you're giving guys open threes, they're going to hit them at 50%. And they did more than that tonight. So, I mean, definitely excited for the Thunder on Sunday. It's another great test. And I mean, I've been looking at the Warriors' upcoming schedule over the next 6 to 7 weeks. It's as tough of a stretch as anybody in the entire NBA is going to see. So we're going to get a really good feel for this team by the turn of the new year. So another great test on Sunday and then same thing on Tuesday. So it's just going to continue.
Question for you. Do you think tonight was more of just they no-showed or Cleveland is a terrible matchup for them?
I think it's both. And that's a cop out. It is a cop out, but I think it's both because I think we've actually seen that over the past couple of years. Cleveland had same thing last year. Team started 6-2, and then they went to Cleveland and they got slapped around a little bit. The same exact thing happened tonight. And Cleveland is they're monstrous. And I think the Warriors are bigger this year. Like they have a little bit more positional size, but at the same time, they're still not a big team by any means. And Allen and Mobley just present problems for them. And Mobley has clearly taken a leap. He's been fantastic through these first 10 games. For people who have been watching the Cavs, he's a different player than he was last year. He's just more confident. He's stronger. He just does everything a little bit quicker, and he's really taking that kind of leap to, stardom in a way, I would say. And they're a really, really tough matchup. And they got hot from three. And like you said, if you don't come with the right energy in today's NBA, it can get really, really ugly really quickly.
Yeah, I feel like I have weird feelings towards Cleveland because I think Allen and Mobley is one of those high floor, low ceiling combinations. Like they just run into issues in the playoffs against certain teams. They're both centers, basically, is what it comes down to. But at the same time, 2 7-footers who can move their feet on the perimeter and really rebound the ball. Like, how many years in a row now have we seen it? If the Warriors walk in there, they make Draymond look old, and they just kind of overpower the Warriors on the glass a little bit, and that alone is a problem. And then if they're having one of those nights where Garland specifically was just like, Jesus, man, flamethrower tonight. But like Garland, Mitchell, they got shooters across the board. They're hitting their shots, and it's a long night. So
yeah, and what I will say from a Cleveland standpoint, real quick, is just what it kind of speaks to is, and this doesn't happen much in the NBA anymore, there's some continuity there. This team has been together for what now? A couple years, and that doesn't happen much anymore. And I think you can kind of see them figuring it out on the fly. And maybe that doesn't change their ceiling much. Maybe they're still a second run out, maybe a conference finals. I think it's too early in the season to say that for sure. But I think they've really learned how to play together. And there was a lot of talk this summer about maybe they move Mitchell, maybe they move Garland. They didn't really do anything. They just kind of kept the same team around.
Got Kenny.
They got Kenny, and he's obviously coaching his ass off right now. He's doing a great job with them. But yeah, I think it more speaks to their continuity, and they've really figured out how to play together. So they are always going to be a tough matchup because of the size, unless the Warriors decide to make some type of trade. Like it's a very difficult matchup for them. And like you said, they make Draymond look old and slow. They make the whole team look old and slow. Even with more team speed this year as a whole for the Warriors, they just can't match up well. And it's one of those styles make fight things, like it's sometimes you just match up bad with team, even if you might be better against the rest of the NBA. It's just a bad matchup for you specifically.
So I'm going to take a different direction. To me, it's a bad matchup for the Warriors, but I think it actually exposes a different hole for the Warriors. I think this is that matchup that reminds me everyone except for Steph and Draymond is tradable on this roster. They have 13. I was going to say 12, but 13 rotation players. Like these guys would play on any team in the NBA. They're all good, but that lack of secondary skill around Steph really shows itself against big physical teams who can engulf him a little bit and just kind of make things difficult. Warriors are turning to like Andrew Wiggins self-creation, which rarely works, and if it's not him, it's trying to like string together 8 perfect passes to get a shot, which also rarely works. And, Kuminga honestly was valuable in this game because he's probably the second best shot creator on this team, which is a weird thing to say, but like second most likely player to go get his own offense. And I'm not saying he's perfect at it or anything, but it's just like, it's a different look to the alternative of this team, which is just, we're going to try to move the ball around and get threes, or it's Steph save us.
Yeah. I mean, on the Kuminga part, did he play well tonight because he's talented at creating shots, or because the game got out of hand early and it just turned into open gym? That's more what I would say.
You are correct. Most of his stats tonight were in the non-competitive portion of the game, but the Warriors were unable to get any offense going. And when he got subbed in the first quarter, they started getting some offense going. Was it enough to alleviate it? No, but you could just see. And again, it's like, it's not that he's perfect at it. It's just that he's a scorer. He's a player who can get his own shot, who gets downhill, who can do something off the bounce. And honestly, at this stage of his career, it is something. I don't know what it is half the time. Like, he has not defined.
He doesn't know what it is half the time.
That's my. But my point is, GP2 is not doing that. You know, Kyle Anderson not doing that. Buddy Hield, not that player. Melton, Pods, not those. Like, it just speaks to Wiggins. Honestly, not particularly good off the bounce in general. Great shooter for this team. I think people assume because of his athleticism, he's better getting downhill. But the reality is, what makes him a special offensive player is he can really shoot the ball. But all that says is it kind of exposes the fact they don't have a second option on the roster. Really,
totally. And I mean, I think that it even got exposed against Boston a little bit. You know, in that third quarter, like everybody knows it's an issue. Sure. But the real question is, you know, how long can they sustain the way they were playing before this game and still win games? Or are teams actually going to figure it out? You know, obviously, Buddy got shut down a little bit tonight. 4 field goal attempts, only 19 minutes, but only four field goal attempts, 1 of 4 from 3. And is that going to become the norm, or is tonight an aberration? Because if tonight becomes more of the norm, then I think you have to answer some questions quicker about what direction are we headed with this roster, right? So I think, obviously, I think tonight was a little bit of a fluke, but I also do think it's instructive on the whole of where this team is at. You know, it's obviously, this isn't a finished product in one way or another. They do have too many guys. So I like the way they're playing in general, but, you know, not tonight. And I mean, I'm looking at the chat right now. Everybody's saying they need a center. They need a center. They need a center. Maybe, but they also need a second shot creator. So, in your opinion, Sam, which one would you want them to address first? A second shot creator or a real big man?
Probably a second. I mean, it really depends what the center is. If you're talking about just a bigger
Jokic?
rim runner, like, yeah, exactly. That solves both of them. Problem solved. Go get Jokic, Kirk. Let's get it done. I'll take him beat. Oh, actually, I don't know if I will right now. That's more of a question mark. Yeah, exactly.
Slater in the locker room.
I would like to get a second shot creator who has some version of defensive size, which I mean, everyone in the NBA wants that. It's not a big thing, but I do think the bigger thing that they need tonight is probably shot creator. That's sure. I think Trace and Looney and Draymond playing with a little more energy alleviates the size enough, but they don't really have an internal answer to solve the shot creator issue. So
yeah, no, they don't. They absolutely don't. So no, I mean, I do agree with you from that standpoint. I don't know what that guy is. We don't need to go into that right now, but
no. And I think my big thing on this is tonight was the only game this season where it felt glaring. If they can play with the requisite amount of defensive energy and play hard most nights, they can push this question off until the trade deadline.
Absolutely.
They'll win enough games not doing that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. Let's talk about your PrizePicks picks. I heard you lost some money today. Very important.
I didn't win any money, that's for sure.
No, you didn't win? Hey,
no,
here's the guy. We got Tommy.
Well, look, I expected there to be like a little bit of a Donovan Mitchell, Steph showdown tonight. I expected a competitive game, and that clearly didn't happen. So, that leaves us in a little bit of a lurch here with my picks. Because I picked more, and I even did a flex play to give myself a little bit of flexibility. And even if I hit 2 of those, it would have worked out. But, Steph and Spider weren't really involved in the game.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, the mistake you made was you wanted a good game, even though your head told you it was probably going to be a trap game. If there's going to be a trap game, no one's hitting the over. It's turning into second half garbage time, all that sort of thing.
I was talking with my heart instead of my head,
Yeah, I did the same thing. I went 50-50 on it. Like, I'll just share mine with you. I went with the Steph over because I was like, 2 small guards. Steph can cook these guys if it's a close game. Easy, right? Which he will. But at the same time, like Jared Allen, he kind of beats them on the glass every time. I'm taking the over with him. I like the chances that he's going to put up numbers on that front. He did not get the over. He did dominate the game, but he just didn't play enough to hit the over. So we hit the same issue, Yeah. In some ways, I feel like this just proves that we're just too emotional, too much of homers, Because
absolutely.
Because if I went with my brain on this one, I feel like I win some money. I get that, I get that flex play, get 4-1. Drinks are on me all night. Instead, I'm out here, feeling the glory of the Boston game just a little too much, a little too hyped. And now no drinks on me tonight.
Yeah, now I'm stuck drinking a Coors Light at home. Not going to the bars tonight. Jared Allen didn't have more than 14.5 points. I feel like every time I looked up, he was at the rim scoring a bucket.
13 and 12, 29 minutes. He did get whatever he wanted the whole game. It's just one of those things where I'm like, look, man, if this was a closer game, I bet he ends up with 20 and 18.
Oh, yeah.
But because it wasn't a close game, everyone was kind of just in don't get hurt mode from the third quarter on. Yeah. He spiritually hit the over. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that doesn't work.
Let's cope that way. We can cope that way for sure.
Yeah, guys. Okay. Download the app today. Use the code LIGHTYEARS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5. It's fun. It's easy to play. Honestly, just don't be an idiot like Tommy and I. You're probably going to win more often than not. And honestly, I'm trying to think about it. Like, what do you think of even playing for the Thunder game on Sunday? Or are you going to parlay some football with it? There's so many options, man.
I think I'm going to go. If I'm going to pick stuff for the Thunder game, I think I'm going less on totals just because the Thunder is so good defensively. Like I'll definitely be looking at less for Draymond 100%. I feel like it's just a bad matchup for him with the size and the length that the Thunder have. Maybe, this is me thinking with my heart again. Maybe Steph decides to turn it up a little bit for that game and decides to do something. So I can never pick a less than for Steph. You know what I mean? I just can't do that.
I do feel like there's an emotional thing when I'm like, it's probably not gonna be his night. I should hit this. I'm like, I can't do that.
Can't do it.
I feel
can't do it.
It feels like you're betting against the family. It feels like you're just like, I'm
totally
just
never go against.
I'm gonna short my cousin's company, win some money in the stock. Like I can't do that. It's just it's a bad move. What do you? Okay, yeah, I meant to ask you this. What do you actually think of the Cavs? Because they're the best team in the NBA through 10 games right now. 10-0. They're playing phenomenal basketball. And as much as I want to downplay this game, I think it's a worthwhile conversation.
I kind of touched on it earlier. I think their continuity really does matter, especially in a league where continuity is less and less, frequent or less and less, frequent, I guess is the right word. I think their continuity matters a lot. I really do. They've figured out how to play together. You can tell that. And then obviously Mobley kind of taking the next step helps a lot. Garland's healthy again. He had the jaw issue last year. And I remember reading at some point in the playoffs or right before
he lost 15 or 20 pounds.
Yeah, he lost a bunch of weight. And apparently
he's kind of a skinny guy to begin with.
So. Yeah. And apparently a jaw injury can if you break your jaw, it can actually ruin your grip strength for months and months on end. So, I think they're healthier, number one. And number two, Mobley's kind of a different player. And obviously so is Garland relative to last year. And they're just kind of figuring some stuff out. And then obviously you bring in a new coach. If the guys buy in, it kind of just brings a new energy and you're playing freer, number one, and harder, number two. So are they the best team in the NBA? I don't think I would say that, but they certainly are playing.
Where are they in the East? Forget records. Let's say we get to June. No one makes a significant move. So these are the teams going in. Let's assume normal health. I assume the Sixers will be healthy at some point. I don't know. But where are they in terms of your danger ranking in the East?
2 or 3, I would say. I think Boston's still a clear one. I would say Boston's still the clear one, especially at full health with Jalen and Kristaps. But who else? I don't believe in the Knicks this year. Their depth is terrible. The Cat and the Bridges trade really drained them of any depth that they had. The Sixers, I don't know. I'm just out in general. Just out on the whole.
It doesn't look good right now.
And obviously they're not healthy, but I'm just out on the whole operation. It's chaos every year. So I would say they're unless I'm forgetting somebody, I think they're probably 2. I think they're a pretty strong number 2. Is there anybody else who you can think of that you put above them?
I was ready to buy the Pacers leap, and I'm still kind of buying it. But I can't really say that's more of a long game heart bet in my case in terms of, and then reality. It is them in Boston, and then it feels like everyone else is a 44-win team right now. So
absolutely,
I can't go beyond that. The Knicks, Yeah, it's early with the Cat trade. Let's see what happens. But the defense, just with Brunson and Cat, I don't know what the fix for that is. I know you got
Mitchell Robinson.
OG. True.
In theory, you could put Cat in the 4, but
yeah, and then play your 2 wings and be a bigger team, be a little more physical. Yeah, that could be the fix. And in fact, that might be the way they go. Honestly, it's a good point. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right. They should make the conference finals. They look like a conference finals team.
Yeah, like you said, unless somebody else makes a big move, I think that seems like what it'll be. It'll be Boston 1 and Cleveland 2, but it's so early. It's impossible to say at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the Knicks have a say in the matter. I still think the Pacers have a say in the matter. I do like them. I need Tyrese Haliburton to play like the player he was this time last year. It's starting to get a little long where I'm like, maybe he's not that guy that I thought he was.
I never really believed in it. I always thought it was a little bit Fugazi, to be honest with you. I mean, he was getting top point guard in the league talk. I never believed that.
Did you see how he's playing when the in-season tournament came around?
Yeah, I did, but it just felt fake to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hater. I might just be a hater.
He's a special passer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's one of the top 5 in the league. But I don't know. He needs to start hitting shots again. The thing that made him super special was he was a 40% 3-point shooter on volume. Yep. No one say Steph Curry, but like he'd hit them, right? And currently he's not hitting his shots. If he's not hitting his shots, he's just kind of a taller TJ McConnell. So now I'm just hey, that's worse than anything I said. That's so offensive.
I think TJ is good. I think it's a compliment.
TJ's a good player.
It's a compliment, but like he's not Russell Westbrook. He's not going to like put you through the rim 50 times a game. He has to hit shots.
Exactly.
I was going to ask.
Go ahead. You go ahead first.
Where are you with Donovan Mitchell on this team in general? I feel like I forgot about him in general as a player in the NBA.
I mean, I think when he's right, he's like a top 3 shooting guard in the league. Yeah. Like he can get it going like few guys in the league. When he gets hot and when he starts really like cooking, there's very, very, very few players who can stop him. It's basically nobody. But I don't know. I still feel like the fit overall with Garland is weird. They both kind of need the ball. But Garland's a great passer, but he's like the great passer in the sense of like, I have the ball in my hands and I'm a great passer. Not like a connective. I'm a Steph.
He's not Pajemski.
No, yeah. He's no Pajemski. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Donovan Mitchell. Like if he's available for trades, sign me up. Bring him over to the Warriors for sure. But on this team, I don't know. And I think kind of like you referenced earlier, there is a ceiling cap on that Cavs team just because of all the kind of strange fit issues when it comes to the playoffs. You know, you can box him in a little bit. But I mean, supremely talented player. I think the only shooting guard in the league I'd probably take over him is Book. I'm struggling to think of somebody else. Maybe Ant, probably those two. And then it's probably Spida for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's kind of where I'm at with it too. Yeah. I feel like he's been after the early hype in Utah. I don't want to say he's been slept upon a little bit, but sometimes I forget how good he is just because all right, he didn't turn into the next Michael Jordan. So you forget about him, right?
Right. I'm seeing a lot of comments about Steph and Dre looking old. I'm trying to find one right now. What are your feelings on that? Like here, put this one up. Curry doesn't look to score anymore. I mean,
it would be nice if they didn't play him with 4 dudes who can't score. Right. I mean, Wiggins is the best scorer next to him, and Wiggins is best when he's not asked to be a be Minnesota Wiggins. Like one of my issues with the roster construction was they're talking about Wiggins like they want him to take on the load he did in Minnesota. I'm like, why do that? He's shown he can be one of the best defensive players in the league and like play in the flow of an offense, but not be the shot creator. So to me, it's partially like, dude, you're putting lineups out there that only prime Steph can make work. And he's a little less than prime Steph now. But the other part of it is like, dude, they are a little older. There's a little, we beat Boston and we're going to float a little bit tonight going on right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see him with it. And I don't really read, like, I just expect it. Like he's 36. He'll be 37 in the playoffs. Draymond's 34. He's going to be 35 in the playoffs. And Draymond is an undersized big man. You shouldn't be counting on them to be 82 games of Boston energy, basically.
Yeah. And I think that's actually the larger point is I think actually the perfect like juxtaposition is Steph versus Boston and Steph tonight, right? We saw who Steph still is and can be when he needs to turn it up. Like he's as good as anybody. But you can't expect him to do that every night anymore. And that even heightens the need for a second guy who can really go get it, who can go get a bucket. Because he's just like, he's not going to come out every night looking to shoot
the depth
heads off, essentially.
The depth is awesome. It does allow them to get through a lot of the season, but having one more high level piece would be the real crowning jewel that allows Steph to kind of, you're going to play 60 games out of the 80 games, and 25 of those games are going to be in neutral where you're just using your gravity to get everyone else going. And that's perfect because you shouldn't be having to carry that 2016 load every game because we need that player in the playoffs. So,
yeah. And to be fair, the first 9 games, he was kind of able to do that. Well, prior to Boston, like when he was playing, he was able to do that. So if you're telling me he can do that 3 out of every 5 games, fantastic. Then I like the roster still. But
Antonio brings up stuff overreacting or older running. It's a fair point. If you were to tell me through 9 games, we get one Steph and Dre look old, I take it every night of the week. It's not even a question. It's not even a question to me. If they can give you 8 games of real energy and 1 stinker out of every 9, which is to say you get 10 of these a year, dream scenario.
Especially on this is the 4th of 5 games on probably their hardest road trip of the year.
Yeah.
So if this is, I think it obviously will be the anomaly a night like this, but if this is the night where it happens, I'm totally fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. Guys, go get some DEXA scans. That's what we need to talk about right now.
Absolutely.
Ready to kickstart your fitness journey? Whether you're an athlete, a fitness enthusiast, or just getting back in shape, BodySpec has you covered. For less than the price of a haircut, you can get a DEXA scan, the world's most accurate body composition scan. So what's a DEXA scan? It's a fair question. I'm not going to lie to you. Didn't know it by name until it was told to me. But DEXA scan is basically a highly accurate method of measuring various aspects of your body composition. So most famously, like body fat percentage. I did that test. Honestly, I think I did a DEXA scan like 5 years ago. I just didn't know it was that. But body fat percentage, bone density, lean muscle mass, visceral fat, the fat around your organs, all the things you want to measure that you can't measure on a scale. And the thing about it is usually this is like a $200 to $300 scan. With BodySpec, with the promo code LightYears45, you can just get it for $45. It's that simple. They have locations in San Francisco and LA. And what's cooler than that is if you're not like close to the city, like you don't work around the Embarcadero or you're not in downtown LA, they have mobile vans that go everywhere. So like Andy had a mobile van, go out to him. I'm not going to disclose where in the Bay Area he lives, but he's in the suburbs. Tommy, same thing. Not going to talk about it, so they'll get to you $45, get your body fat, lean muscle mass, all that stuff. It's awesome. It's the best deal we've ever run.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I keep saying I'm going to go do mine. I'm doing mine next week now. I got to figure it out. I got to get this done before winter really hits and, before I'm inside all the time.
No, it's perfect. You get it now. You get it now. You find out that you're actually fatter than you thought.
Yep.
And then you have a goal for what you want to come out of winter hibernation with.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. I'm like 3% higher than I want to be. That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I'll let it go. And come April, I'm getting where I need to get. But you can 100%. Only know.
But yeah, by the time it's swimsuit season, I'm be ready to go. I'm be ready to rock and roll. All right. I'm going to talk to you guys about Game Time. We got NBA going right now. We got NFL. It's concert season. It's the perfect time to get, that special someone in your life, man or woman, a little gift, go to a concert together, no matter what type of music you like. But Game Time is the authorized ticket place of many sporting events, including the NBA, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to tip off. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, and views from your seats, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. So I think I've said this before. I live in Southern California, and the Warriors are actually going to be down here. I think next Monday, I believe it is. They're playing at the Intuit Dome, and I've been just kind of like looking at tickets, trying to find like what the best deal is right now. And right now, I looked at the app actually before we came on. I can get tickets in the lower bowl at the Intuit Dome, the newest arena in the NBA, for $250. Like that's an insane deal, and you can only really find deals like that on Game Time. But even if I wanted to wait until kind of the last minute, Game Time's last minute deals can save me up to 60% off for anything though, for sporting events, concerts, comedy, a theater play, whatever you guys want to go to. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LightYears for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LightYears, LIGHTYEARS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
We got the Klay Thompson game on Tuesday. Obviously, that's an expensive.
Man.
That's an expensive.
You're gonna get a Captain Klay hat. They're giving them out. They're giving them out at the arena, man. You got to go get one.
So I heard some hype about how they're doing the coolest tribute to Klay. I'm like, what are they going to do? I in some ways, I'm just like, stop overhyping it, man. He's not retiring. They feel like they're just trying too hard, man. It's
like
too much
like memorializing somebody. Like he's still with us, guys.
Bro, they're doing the whole like, I'm so happy my ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend thing. Like it's very like, it's like, I'm so happy. He's a great dude. I'm so happy for her. It's like, shut the fuck, like stop it, man. And it's like, I get it. They want to make sure that like they have a good reputation of free agents, but I'm like, I promise you, this is not necessary. The hat's less cringy than I thought.
Sure.
I don't need one. I can just it'd be a cool memorabilia item, but it's like, I'm never gonna. What am I gonna do with it?
Get one for the kiddo, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, all right, Saturday, I'm wearing my Klay hat.
You're not gonna wear it out in the marina.
No, it's not the move. That is not gonna be the move. I don't know.
Anyway, go download Game Time. Go get it done.
Yeah. What I was saying is that ticket's expensive, but you look at the other games, like dude, that Hawks game, like $60 again. It's pretty cheap.
Crazy. I mean, like I said, $250 for lower bowl in LA for a Warriors Clippers game. Like that's stealing. It feels like, especially at the newest arena in the NBA. That's crazy.
People don't get to see Chris Dunn for less than $500.
Hey, man, Chris Dunn, he killed us last time. So be careful.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
He is a good player.
Chris Dunn fits in on this Warriors. They have a lot of Chris Dunn vibes.
Man, I've wanted Chris Dunn on the Warriors for years and years. So you're preaching to the choir.
Before we get out of here, I just figured, okay, so they get blown out by the Cavs. Boring game. Not really worth overreacting to or thinking too much about. But it is the Cavs. It does feel fun to go down memory lane a little bit here. So I wanted to ask you, I got a couple thoughts of my own. Give me some of your favorite moments of the Warriors-Cavs rivalries, because it's been a talking point in the NBA right now. Ratings are down. Interest is declining. And I'm like, yeah, because nobody hates each other anymore. Like, you know what made that Boston game fun? They fucking hate Steve Kerr. There's rivalry blood there. Yeah. And you know what made the NBA peak in the mid-00s? Cavs fans fucking hated the Warriors. They did. It was real. Like, and it was both ways. I didn't like those guys either. So
it was vicious. It was vicious. I remember. I saw a funny tweet. It was from our guy Jacob JPG. Yeah. He was like Windy. It was like Windy trying to undercut the Warriors. Trump's president. It really is 2016 again.
I laughed that one too. Yeah.
But no, I mean, if we're talking like favorite memories, I mean, the first one that's like always going to pop up is obviously the first championship, 2015. But like specifically kind of that, I think game 5, 2015 will always stand out to me, because like 2-2, we're in the Bay at Oracle at kind of like the peak of Oracle. And obviously that's a depleted Cavs team a little bit, but like LeBron went for like 40, and it's Steph versus LeBron in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game, Steph's first finals, and he stares him down and takes him down. Like we all knew what Steph was becoming, But when I really, really look back, I mean, I think you kind of look back at the Grizzlies series, obviously that same season,
Sure.
but also like I look back at that game 5 as like the moment where Steph like really became Steph. Like he stared the baddest dude in the world in the eye and was like, I will go shot for shot with you and I will take you down. And I don't care who's on LeBron's team at that point. Like you still have to be the dude to do it. You know what I mean? Like, and Steph clearly proved that night that he was that
put
guy.
Delly in the hospital. He put Delly
in the hospital, man. Put Delly in the hospital. So that like that's really the one that stands out to me. I don't know, Steph throwing the mouthpiece, like looking back on it, it's hilarious. In the moment, it was not funny at all. But looking back on it, like that one always sticks in my head too.
I also think about the 2 games the following season to the first title. So like they won 73 games. We all know how it ended. We don't need to talk about that. But they played the Cavs on Christmas and MLK Day in the 15-16 season. And that Christmas, and both those, by the way, Cleveland wanted both those games hard. Yeah. Both teams wanted both those games hard.
Christmas was ugly.
Christmas was ugly, and that was kind of like Andrew Bogut's last great moment with the Warriors because he was the best player on the floor in that game. And he just kind of, I want to say 89, 83 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find
a score that doesn't happen anymore in the NBA.
Oh, wow. I was right. 89, 83.
Wow.
Yeah. Warriors were 28 and 21, by the way. Crazy.
28 and 1.
28 and 1. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cavs were only 19 and 8. Those losers. Anyway. And then the second one was the MLK Day game, which was probably the peak of the Warriors. That span from mid-January MLK to the double bang shot against OKC is probably the apex peak of the Warriors. Then they got a little injured. The playoffs, they never hit it again. But if you were to define when were the Warriors playing the best basketball of all time, it was mid-January 2016 to, let's call it the end of February 2016.
Yeah.
And that was the David Black gets fired game because they torched them. LeBron sitting on the couch, sitting on the bench, just looking miserable. And to me, that was just like, I mean, they had to fire their coach because they were just like, this, we can't do this anymore.
No, I mean, they walked in that building, they absolutely smoked them from the time the ball was tipped off. It was, like you said, obviously 24-0 was like a moment, but in terms of like how well they were playing, I think it was that same stretch, right? Kind of that January to February through the double bang, which was, I want to say towards the end of February. It was like February 20 something, maybe a little bit earlier than that. It's right around there. But yeah, I mean, and obviously, like you said, the Cavs wanted both those games really, really badly. But that MLK, it was a smackdown. It was crazy what they did that night. They made it, and it wasn't just like how much they won by, is how easy they made it look. It looked like they were going at 80%, and they were so much better than the Cavs still. It didn't even matter. But, I mean, those are the two that stick out to you. Nothing from any of the finals games, just regular season stuff.
I feel like I lived through all the final stuff all the time, that I was just trying to think of moments that were a little, like, forgotten moments. Maybe I'll talk about Pat McCaw. Pat McCaw had a great Christmas Day game against them in 2018. Shout out my guy. That's what I'm thinking about. The other one I'm thinking about is this one, literally. You remember when they got Boogie Cousins? And this is after LeBron left. This guy deserves some love here.
It's
Real
real funny.
Hey, that was an all-time meme for a while. That was an all-time internet meme for
I'm telling you, there was some real hate there. There's some there's some real, I'm gonna try to get you fired from your job because you're a Warriors guy hate in that rivalry. So I miss those days. I miss the viciousness.
Do you really? Do you actually?
Yeah, a little bit actually. I in the moment you don't miss it, but the sanitized no hate, that's boring. I guess I don't miss it because the Warriors have that with different teams now. You know, it's always a thing with the Lakers, even though there's like kind of a weird bromance with Steph and LeBron. The Celtics, I don't know if the Warriors can get back to the finals or anything like that, but like I would love to see the Celtics more than anything, not just because I think it's a good matchup or anything, because that's a good team. The Pacers aren't giving you those vibes. The Knicks are not giving you those vibes. You're only getting those vibes with the Celtics because they hate Steve Kerr.
You know,
and Steph has ripped their heart out.
I was thinking about it as I was watching on Wednesday. it's developing into a real rivalry. Like you can feel it. And when you hear the Celtics guys talk about it on podcasts, like you hear Tatum talk about it, you hear Derek White talk about it. There you go. Like there is like a real, like, obviously they respect the Warriors, but they want to beat them really, really badly. And that's what always makes a rivalry. It's kind of like a little brother, big brother thing. And I bet if you ask the Celtics if they could have one team from the West get back to the finals, it would be the Warriors. They want that rematch for sure.
No, those guys think they should have won in 2022, and they just gave it away. Like, listen to Derek White here.
What was the Luka Kyrie finals experience like compared to Steph?
Steph went crazy against us, and we were a different team, but like he just kind of like imposed his will, and we didn't really have an answer for that. Whereas like if Luka or Kyrie, they went on a run or they hit a tough shot, we just kind of got it out and like we moved on. Like we didn't let it snowball as much as in 22 when Steph would hit a tough shot or Steph would go on one of those runs. Like now we let it snowball into like a 17-5 run. Whereas this one we're like, all right, we can get it out. Now we got to execute offensively. And so I think a lot of growth from us. And I mean, obviously Kyrie and Luka were tough to guard. 48 minutes of just locked in on the game plan, locked in on what we're trying to take away.
Shout out Steve Kerr. This is a smart player. I understand why you played him over Tatum. What I was going to say, though, is the part he leaves out, which I think is the real biggest thing here, is they knew they could get whatever they wanted against Dallas. They're just like, they're going to hit a certain, like Luka and Kyrie are going to hit a certain amount of fuck you shots. Or you're just like, this sucks. But they're like, I get it back on the other end. The Warriors, they struggle against offensively. And when you can't get it offensively and then Steph hits a shot on you, that's demoralizing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, to this day, nobody rips the heart out of opponents like Steph. Still, and we saw it again on Wednesday night. Like the way that he makes an opposing team and an opposing crowd feel, it's like nothing else. Like when he hit the step back right in front of the bench in the fourth quarter. I think it put him down 1, but they'd obviously kind of let the game slip away. And then Steph hits that step back, and he kind of like yells at the bench and yells at the fans right near the bench. At that moment, I was like, all right, we got this. You could kind of feel Boston about to fold. And they did. They missed a couple easy shots. They missed some easy layups. And Tatum takes a terrible mid-range at some point. Like, there's no one who does it like Steph. There still isn't. So I just want to get him back to that point again. Like, I would love to see the Celtics again in the finals. And then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. It's I feel like we can end it on this. The last 2 games are a reminder that styles make a fight. I like the Warriors as presently constructed against the Celtics, even without Jaylen Brown. And I think they're a tough team. And I'm not saying the Warriors are going to like walk all over them. I just like the way the Warriors match up against them.
Yeah.
But then on the same time, Cleveland points out the fact that this isn't your 2017 Warriors where it doesn't matter who the fuck they play. It's just about if they're going to show up or not. So yeah, I think more than anything, I love this team's energy overall this season because I feel like they're going to keep it up and at least keep us having relevant conversations instead of misery conversations. Like
100%. And, just the last point to end on, I think it's funny. If you put this same roster around like 2016 Steph and Dre, I think they're probably the favorites in the West. But it is what it is.
You think so?
I think it's them in OKC. I think it's very clearly them in OKC.
I don't know that young Steph and Draymond have the maturity to lift these guys the way these guys are doing right now. I think it's twofold. I think there'd be a lot of like, get me someone, because Steph, Steph's been a flamethrower his whole career, but like the maturity he plays with now is different than what he did when he was 10 to 11 years younger.
Sure. That's fair. I guess I just mean more from a talent standpoint. Right.
Yeah.
I think from that standpoint, it's enough. But no, I totally agree with what you're saying. Not to take away from that. I do think they're going to keep making us have like fun conversations for the most part. I don't think there's going to be a lot of podcasts like this year. I hope not, at least.
All right, man. Leave it here. Appreciate everyone. You know where we're going to be. We'll be here after Sunday.